The Mahabharata, Season 2, Episode 6. The fierce battle between the warrior sage and the warrior king.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to support us and stay connected with more engaging videos. Once upon a time, in the era of Dwapara Yuga, the third age of the world cycle of yugas, Sage Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, in which humanity shows its first significant decline in righteousness. An age where morality and immorality coexist equally, and spirituality is deteriorating. In this age, Krishna, an avatar of Vishnu, took birth to establish a dharma, divine truth or justice. He taught humanity vital lessons to expand their consciousness. He taught about dharma, responsibility, righteousness, devotion, the essence of life, and fulfilling responsibilities without concern to the outcome, emphasizing unselfish conduct. He played a very important role in this era, where the great epic of Mahabharata taken place. Whenever there is a decline in righteousness and an increase in sinfulness, O descendant of Bharata, at that time I manifest myself on earth to protect the righteous, to annihilate the wicked, and to re-establish the principles of dharma. I appear on this earth, age after age. Weapons cannot shred the soul, nor can fire burn it. Water cannot wet it, nor can the wind dry it. All the best among warriors fight for the sake of duty, treating alike happiness and distress, loss and gains, victory and defeat. Fulfilling your responsibility, in this way you will never incur sin.
In the era of Treta Yuga, there was a colossal battle between Parashurama, the son of Sage Jamadagni, and the mightiest of Kshatriya race, Kartavirya Arjuna, the Haihaya King of Mahishmati, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Kartavirya, also known as Sahasrabahu Arjuna, was son of King Kritavirya, a descendant of Yadu. He became the emperor of the world and ruled from his capital, the city of Mahishmati. He was of unbaffled prowess and followed the duties of the Kshatriya and was adept in Vedic knowledge. With his strength and supernatural abilities, Kartavirya became nearly invincible, able to defeat entire armies single-handedly. He roamed all over the world without opposition, just like the wind. Kartavirya worshipped and did penance unto Sage Jamadagni and requested the boon of possessing 1,000 arms at will when engaged in battle. He also requested the sage and said,
O noble sage, if I ever swerves from the path of virtue, let someone come forth to set me right.
O the best among the Kshatriyas, always follow the path of righteousness, never grew arrogant despite all the boons and might you had acquired, never fell to corruption as normally absolute power corrupts. Always stick on the path of dharma. When you start to deviate from the path of righteousness, then that is the beginning of your downfall.
It is said that during his rule, there was no suffering, robbery, or any sort of criminal activity, but eventually he became drunk with power. Owing to his newfound prowess and might, Kartavirya grew arrogant. Corruption overtook the just king, and blinded by his own ego, he fell into darkness. He lost control of his senses and began to oppress humans, yakshas, and the very gods themselves. Kartavirya even had the audacity to insult Indra, the king of gods. Around this time, other Kshatriyas too had become drunk with power and oppressed innocents for pleasure. Kartavirya's arrogance reached its peak, ruling with a sense of entitlement and tyranny. He boasted of his strength, went on rampages, and plundered wherever he pleased, causing suffering among the people. His fame as a ruthless warrior and oppressive ruler spread far and wide, and many feared him for his wrath. This brings about Vishnu's decision to incarnate himself on earth to relieve the gods and all creatures of the permanent threat. Heaven and earth are so deeply affected by Arjuna's doings that their normal and peaceful relationship has been destroyed and life is no more possible. That is why Vishnu himself has to step in at this point and decide Kartavirya Arjuna's death. As narrated by Vyasa, intoxicated by his successes, Kartavirya went to the seashore and challenged the ocean and began to destroy the animals in the sea by shooting them with his arrows. God Varuna appeared before him and asked him what he wanted. Kartavirya asked the god to name a man who had the capacity to fight with him. The god Varuna informed him,
In this known world, the only warrior capable of defeating you is Parashurama, the son of Sage Jamadagni.
Unhappy and furious with it, Kartavirya Arjuna replied,
O Varuna, in this 3 worlds, I went about defeating devas, yakshas, rishis, and other mighty Kshatriyas. Even the invincible Ravana was helpless before me. The mighty Indra, the king of gods, was unable to defeat me as well. How can the mortal being will be able to defeat me?
Without replying it, the god Varuna was disappeared. Enraged, Arjuna wanted to go to Jamadagni's hermitage to see Parashurama's power. The Varuna's prophecy was truly disturbed his mind.
One day, while Kartavirya Arjuna and his retinue were on a hunting expedition, they came across the humble ashram of Sage Jamadagni. Jamadagni, known for his simplicity and hospitality, received the king and his army graciously. Using his sacred cow, Kamadhenu, which had the power to fulfill any wish, Jamadagni provided a lavish feast for Kartavirya Arjuna and his entire entourage. Kartavirya was stunned with the wondrous appearance of Kamadhenu and impressed by its power and divine ability. Kartavirya Arjuna grew envious. He thought,
This cow is very wonderful. I must have Kamadhenu.
He demanded Sage Jamadagni to hand it over to him and said,
Oh, Sage, I want the cow. Give it to me as a tribute.
Jamadagni, however, politely refused. The sage replied,
O great king, I cannot give it to you. Kamadhenu is like my daughter, who I love it the most. This can't happen. It is essential to my ashram and my spiritual practices.
Kartavirya Arjuna was furious and killed Sage Jamadagni mercilessly. When Parasurama returned to the hermitage, he was informed of the context by his mother. Parashurama was furious and angry and vowed to eradicate Kartavirya Arjuna and the Kshatriya race. When found there were 21 wounds on his father's body, he also vowed to destroy male Kshatriya race for 21 generations. Parashurama then challenged Kartavirya to meet in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. When Parashurama arrived, Kartavirya Arjuna was confident in his own strength and scoffed at the idea that a lone sage could defeat him. Kartavirya sent 17 Akshauhinis to fight against the alone Parashurama who was on foot. Parashurama single-handedly slew the entire army and spared no one alive. Realizing that Parashurama was no ordinary opponent, Kartavirya decided to face him directly. The 2 warriors engaged in a fierce battle, Kartavirya using his 1,000 arms to wield multiple weapons simultaneously. Parashurama, with his supreme skills and divine powers, matched every attack, moving with speed and precision. Their clash was monumental, shaking the earth and awing the gods and sages who watched. Kartavirya, with his divine golden chariot, which could go anywhere unobstructed. The king himself was a powerful archer, capable of simultaneously wielding 500 bows and shooting 500 arrows at a time. Despite his many arms and formidable strength, Kartavirya was ultimately no match for Parashurama's divine fury. Using his axe, Parashurama severed Kartavirya's 1,000 arms, one by one, reducing him to a mere mortal. Finally, Parashurama struck Kartavirya down, ending his life and freeing the land from his tyranny. With Kartavirya's death, Parashurama returned to his father's ashram, where he restored Kamadhenu and offered respects to his father. However, Parashurama's mission did not end there. After the death of Kartavirya Arjuna, many Kshatriya kings continued to follow the path of arrogance and oppression, ruling with cruelty and disrespect for dharma. Parashurama, seeing the widespread corruption among the Kshatriya class, went on to fulfill his divine duty by ridding the world of unrighteous kings. It is said that he conducted 21 campaigns to cleanse the earth of Kshatriyas, seeking to restore dharma and peace. This epic battle of Kurukshetra was very famous to later generations. It is also mentioned that Parashurama dug 5 wells in Kurukshetra to collect the blood of Kshatriya race. Later, Parashurama also said that he will not train any warrior of Kshatriya race except Brahmana caste.
In the next episode, Parashurama challenged a mighty Kuru prince for Dharma Yuddha in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. A terrible battle that almost wiped out all life on Earth. A fierce and disastrous battle for 23 days that shook the 3 worlds. This was not a battle between mortals, but of mighty celestial weapons. Who is this peerless warrior? Who is capable of fighting great Parashurama? The story isn't over yet. Watch out for the next episode. Let us continue to embark on a journey through time to explore the origins of this timeless epic. The story of mankind, the story of Dharma.